I'm responding to this video from Dysgenic Central Asia, Death of Beauty. Basically, Dysgenic, the problem that I have with your video is that it seems like pro-white propaganda to me. I think it's basically to paint whites as a victim and paint the white race as the race that has the highest evolution. Many of your comments point to that. I know that you're going to say that you are stating the truth, but most of us disagree with you. It's not because it's politically incorrect, it's because facts do not prove that. Dysgenic, I think that you have a skewed view of your race in history. You are taking only 600 years of massive advancement of whites and claiming that is white supremacy or white superior achievement, whatever you want to call it. So you ignore the fact that there were other environmental factors and historical factors that contributed to the Germans, the Aryans that you call it, having a very advanced society. One of the white groups that have a very advanced society, and it's not only so-called genes, which are, if you want to believe it or not, are in other races in approximately equal distribution. There's just too many exceptions to your theory that Aryans are the superior race of mankind. Now, I understand why you're doing this, is because you feel that the anti-white propaganda, or you perceive that the images of anti-racist is anti-white propaganda. Ultimately, that black people, Muslim people, or every other type of non-white people will blame their problems on white people continuously because of the 600-year history. Yes, there's some truth to that. I mean, there's a lot of truth in that. However, I could tell you that the problems of African Americans in America, I do not contribute. I contribute it partially to history. I mean, of course, I gotta contribute partially to history in terms of how whites, and I'm not saying whites, present-day whites, but whites, you know, throughout history, how they treated blacks. I mean, that would be ridiculous to ignore that type of history of slavery, Jim Crow, and you know, discrimination. However, in terms of educational achievement, underachievement by black Americans, as of right now, past 1960, I would say around 1980 and up, you cannot just say that it's a evil whitey conspiracy, that whites just are trying to find ways not to educate blacks. Well, that's based upon a stereotype of how whites historically have treated blacks. It's a distorted stereotype, a distorted myth, and I don't understand how some black anti-racists come to that myth, but it is a myth. But anyways, I believe that the black leadership in the educational community and the black culture are primarily the only ones that can fix that problem. I don't believe that the white government, just because the predominantly white government spending more money on education will fix that problem. So I don't come from a hate whitey or blame whitey perspective. Now, that does not mean that I'm going to ignore which is a fact, that racism, a certain amount of discrimination exists in America. It will not. But I do not attribute conspiracy. I'm not a conspiracy anti-racist to believe that the white government is plotting ways of trying to prevent blacks from being educated. That's just based upon, that belief is based upon historical interpretations and not practical experience with whites. But the other hand, I don't see, I don't see, you know, using race realism and saying that blacks are just born that way, born to have a certain intellectual capacity which is lower than everybody on Earth, is going to help the race problem. You're just basically saying, black on white crime. Yeah, I agree. Black on white crime is larger than white on white crime. That's not racism. That's just practical common sense. And why is it? Because whites have higher financial resources. Integration is allowed, and that's what's going to happen. That's not because of hating whitey. That's because whites have higher, on average, have higher financial resources. That's not to justify it. But I don't see how that's going to solve white on black crime that you're concerned about. How that's going to solve, many black nationalists. I'm not going to say all, but many black nationalists, and even some Afrocentrists, of really disliking whites and possibly possibly supporting things to execute whites and even blacks who disagree with them. I just feel that you're just continuing to motivate and continuing to inspire this hatred that you see in what you call Afro bozos and black nationalists. You're not helping the problem at all. And these things that you call the truth, come on, buddy. You know that this is a bunch of feel-good white propaganda. You probably have maybe you've had experiences with militant blacks, and you're just tired of it. So this is how you come across. This has nothing to do with stating truth. This is more to do with racialized, politicized, nationalistic propaganda, which is frankly on both sides. And I hate to say it, I think it's more on the white side, because I don't see all these black nationalists and Afro bozos, promoting themselves on YouTube as much as white nationalists and white. And I'm not saying all white nationalists are racist, but racist white nationalists. So I just think, buddy, you just need to you need to think about what you're doing. I probably won't convince you, but maybe someday down the road you'll learn. Have a nice day.